have the theme of commitment. Each month, one of the Creative Mornings chapters from around the world chooses the theme. So this month, our friends in Vienna chose commitment, and the illustration is by Florian Gluck. Yeah, probably butchered that. Okay, and to talk about commitment, we have Veronica from Anti and a new type of imprint. So give her a round of applause and welcome her to the stage.
Thank you guys, and thank you to Creative Mornings for having me here. Yes, I go by the name of Mike. My born name is Veronica, but I hate it, so never use it, please. And I work at Anti, where I founded, and now I'm running the magazine called A New Type of Imprint. And also I work as art director and creative directing in content production over there. When I was asked to do a talk here, I love doing speeches, so I usually say like, yeah, I'm coming, no matter what. But I was actually able to choose from different topics, and this was the one that spoke to me the most, and it's kind of what I feel like the base of my career this far, and it's definitely like the most important thing for my success, so to say, and the only reason I'm here. So I would actually say that commitment is way more important than talent when it comes to careers. But what is it? And Heidi Reeder wrote a book called Commit to Win, and she says this: commitment is the foundation of great accomplishments. And without commitment, we wouldn't have like any products, no novels, not a single movie, and we would not have like any sports talent, and not like a marriage would never last more than a year, I guess, because like it's shaping everything and it's the foundation of a lot. And big and small commitment is shaping our lives every day. Some are automatic, some are well planned. Just the fact that you guys are here today is a commitment to your knowledge and inspiration that you want to, it's a commitment to your career, so to say. And you have, for instance, you want to stay healthy, so you eat better. You want to be a good friend, so you meet your friends, you call your grandmother. All those are like small commitments we do every day. Just waking up is like a commitment, or just getting out of bed to make something of your day. And then you also have the well-planned ones, where you choose like, I want to commit to this. And the most obvious one is love, basically. I want to commit to this person. And then it's career. And even though I love talking about love, I'm going to talk about, and boys, because I love boys, and girls for that matter. But yeah, today I'm going to talk about my second love in life, which is my career. So I thought I would give you a little, let's go back to the beginning, and that's me actually, with the black hair. And I used to be an emo, so to say. I loved Him, My Chemical Romance, and really bad bands. And I was probably like 12 or 13 years there. And how did like an emo end up, I didn't have any path in life even, like end up making the most of my life until I was 25. I had reached all my goals. And I blame it all on commitment. Actually, this commitment, the first I've ever made probably. I need to get the fuck out of here. I'm gonna fucking prove them wrong. Because I'm from a very small place called Kaupanger. It's very close to Sogndal. I usually say I'm from Sogndal, but it's not actually even Sogndal. It's a small place of 800 people. And I was like the weirdo. There's always one weird kid in every small place. And I can joke around about it, but it was also like pretty lonely at times, and I was super, weird. I didn't like the things people cared about. I wasn't into sports. I didn't like the same clothes. So I found creativity, which is like a super cliche, but also like, it's nice. I discovered photography, I discovered writings, I discovered reading. And then I made this commitment, and I stuck to it. Commitment is more than just a word. At first it's a decision, You have to decide, hey, I want to commit to this. And then it's a process. And you also have to like make a plan of how to get there. It's easy to say, oh, okay, I'm gonna commit to getting the best body before this summer. And then it usually just like disappeared into nothing because you didn't make a plan. And how can I reach my goal in life and live the way I want, basically? Heidi Reader again. She's saying commitment is the experience of being physically attached to something and intending to continue. We can also call it maybe stubbornness, dedication, love, passion, will. But passion fades, love dies. Not to be like an emo again, but it's all these gets challenged every time. But if you're committed, you can basically go through every shitstorm. And if you're into like a good career, it's certain that you'll meet a lot of shit on your way. At least when it comes to like your own self-esteem, am I good enough, bloody, bloody, bloody. We'll get back to that. At least commitment will keep you going. Can we choose our commitments then? If it was as easy as just saying, hey, I will commit, then everybody here would have like the dream career in this life. And I think it's also a matter of fact of choosing what you want to commit to. Like, for instance, back in the day, I used to be ashamed of saying, hey, I want to be a novel writer, because I really want to be an author. I want to release a novel. And I've said it 1,000 times. I've even said, like, I'm about to finish the best book ever. It's going to be amazing. And then it turned into nothing. And I was just like, fuck, am I the talker? Everybody want to be the walker. But yeah, why do I seem to succeed in some commitments and not in others? For me, it's been like a challenge between these ones. Editor-in-chief versus famous writer versus rock star, because I also play in a band. And then it's like the cliche hardworking creative versus family and friends. And prioritizing here is pretty important. But yeah, why do I fail in something and succeed in others? And there's like factors. This is also Heidi Reader. 3 different factors that will indicate how committed you will be to something. And the first one is treasures versus troubles, which is like the carrot, we call it in Norwegian, gulrot. If you're deciding to follow your career instead of hanging with friends and family, then the award you get or whatever you get out of it better taste like super good. And then it's the level of investment. The more invested you are, the more time you spend with a thing, the more committed you actually get to it. There's like so many examples of people who choose like a creative career and they work super hard. This is actually like my boss actually said this. He worked super hard and then he got kids. And since he's been working so hard with his job, he's still like so into it that it's like suddenly his kids are 13 years old and he didn't even notice them growing up because this was just like so into focus. And then it's also number of choices. And yeah, if it's a matter of life and death, you're probably more likely to be super committed to something. If you have a lot of choices, then it's easy to just like have one foot out the door. This is like typical for modern love, for instance, like, is there something better coming around? And this is why we have a lot of divorces and yeah, people not committing. Shame on you guys. Let's stick to one person. Okay, but then we also need to remember this, and this is something I understand now, that there is time for everything. Like, that's a typical thing for creatives, like, oh shit, I have so many ideas, I want to do everything at once, I want to be the writer, I want to be the editor, and I also want to be like a good friend. But there is a time for everything, and there's a reason why you're more committed to one thing than another thing. And it's totally okay to change. We make detours, we make new experiences. Some of, like, for me, being committed to this magazine for so many years has definitely led me into new professions and new experiences that, like, suddenly just make new commitments for me. And yeah, let's say if you're really into your career and then you get pregnant, then you probably prioritize differently, and that's how life should be. And it's totally fine to just not fulfill the commitment, basically. So looking at my commitments, trying to be nerdy. Are some of the goals I've set in life and reached. I'll take you through it. It's a bit bragging, but it's also, I hope it's interesting either way. So the first I made was in 2006. I wanted to move away from Sogndal. And I discovered that there was a school where I could do photography and writings in Kristiansand. So I moved 12 hours away from home. I was 15 years old. It was probably like way too early. And the first challenge I got was basically there because I felt the urge of moving back. I didn't have any friends. I was still a weirdo and lonely. But yeah, I committed to this school. And during that time, I decided I wanted to study at Westerdals because I've heard that was the best school. At least it used to be the best school in Norway. Now it doesn't even exist anymore, but that's another discussion. And I was super determined that, okay, I'm going to go straight to Westerdals, I'm going to ace it, I'm going to get the best job, I'm going to start my own magazine, and I'll be rich and famous by the age of 23. That was basically my goal there. And that was a setback for me because I didn't get into Westerdals the first year I applied, actually. I had even bought an apartment in Oslo, just like, okay, I'm going to live here. And that was just like a hit in the face because I thought I was a superstar at this moment. But yeah, I didn't think about not going. I went to Bay. It was a horrible year. I hate Bay. Just imagine like the 13-year-old going there. It was weird. And but I got in the second try. And also during my communication studies in Kristiansand, I started blogging in 2008, which turned out to be like the best thing I've done for my career so far, I think. And the day it was big back then, basically. And I just said to one of my friends, like, I'm going to be blogger of the year the day I started the blog. And she laughed at me like, Mike, you think you're so good at everything. But that was like a super commitment. I didn't ever think I wasn't able to make it. I was like, you just wait and see. I'm going to win this award. And in 2011, I got my first blog award. It was the most inspiring blogger of the year at Vixen. And 2 years later, I got the biggest award, the blogger of the year. And I actually said it in my thank speech or something like, haha, I told you. But yeah, so that was basically just commitment and working for it. And because of that blogger award, that was actually how I got my first internship at Anti. I wanted to work at Anti. That was like basically the only place in Norway I felt that I could fit in. And they're super interesting. They do a lot of different things. And I already wanted to make a magazine. I thought like maybe this is the place for me to develop something like that. And I called them 1,000 times and he was like, at first he didn't even answer. Kenneth, that is the boss there, CEO. And I didn't hear back from them until actually Campagna did an interview with me when I won the award at the blog thing. And he asked me what I wanted to do when I was done studying. And I just said, you should tell Kenneth he should hire me at Anti. So that was like written in the press release. And then he called me and said, okay, you can come. So that was how that went. And a month in, I decided to pitch the magazine idea. I spent like every night on developing it, and it was like, I write here it's an 8-mile moment, which is like one shot, one opportunity thing. I was really prepped and I had everything planned. And he hired me then and there for that, and that was great. And then the magazine was founded and I started running it. I was 23 years old, and everybody I met on the way was just like, whoa, good luck with this one. Because making a magazine is way harder than you think. And since it was like an anti-brand, it was supposed to be like really good design as well. But yeah, and that was hard. We'll get back into how hard it was. But then also these are some of the awards and nominations. I've got like the editor of the year internationally for Stack Magazine has been my main goal. I will never win it. It's not a goal to win it because it's way too hard. But just being nominated for me, it's like so big. So I'm really proud of these awards. But this is all commitment, way more than talent, I tell you. My overall commitment in life is I want to become better and I want to be best in something. I usually say I don't do a thing if I don't think I can be the best in what I do. And that's like internationally. I think like there will always be someone that's like what is best, that's like, yeah. But I want a feeling that I can be like in the top lead of anything. And seasonal commitment, like 3 months in a row, it's just like making a better and better and better magazine. And this is basically one season for me. Most of the time it's about hanging in there. This is how we work, like 2.5 months it's research, production, and then like everything in between here. My job there is basically sending 1 million emails, making sure that people deliver. I have to research, and it's extremely boring at times. But yeah, it used to be exciting, it's not exciting anymore. So it's basically, okay, here we go, a new magazine, super excited. And then it's pretty harsh when we're getting close to deadline. I usually cry a lot, I freak out every time. But then as everything is sent to like proofreading and stuff, I get very happy because I love doing layouts. And then it's finalizing print and launch. And then it starts over again. But the commitment is pretty stable. We're gonna make this the best magazine we've ever made. So the everyday commitment for me is go to work, don't cry today, do solid, don't be lazy. I usually say that every morning, don't be lazy today, because it's easy to be lazy at work. Don't complain, love my job, be thankful, and be happy. And then it's general commitments in life, like do your yoga, call your grandmother, see your friends, bloody, bloody, bloody. And this, yeah, I've written here, I've loved and hated life 12 times since 2014. And I usually say, every time I make a print, this will be the last one I ever made. I hate print. But then you start over again, and it feels good every time. Actually, these ones are supposed to switch. I don't know why. It's like 9, 10, 11, 12. But whatever. When it comes to work, commitment is super important there as well. If you're gonna build a brand, you have to be super patient, and you have to commit to the brand and stay true, stay real, and fight the boredom. Because like every creative, we are restless, and it's very normal that you hate your product basically after some time. But you just have to imagine that everybody else is still pretty fresh and new every time they get the new copy or a new product. And I remember this when I met Eddie Poppy, is a writer that I really look up to. And I asked her about her book called Anatomy Monotony or something. Yeah, well, I asked her about the book, like, okay, how can I manage to finish my own novel, basically? And she said she spent 7 years on this book, and it's 200 pages, like 7 years, and it's so long. And she said, well, you have to look at this process as entering a forest, and the longer you get, the darker you get, you're gonna meet like ghosts and all kinds of shit in there. But you have to like go in and fight it, and then you get on like to the other side, where it's gonna be light and you're gonna love it again, basically. So I think that's the process of every product or building a brand, basically. Stick to the concept. But you're gonna develop all the time as well. And I think like this is the thing, don't change a winning game. If you have success with like, or just good feedback from something, stick to the concept, but make sure you develop all the time. After like every launch, we take the magazine, we look at what's good and what's not, and we try to develop all the time. The most obvious change we've done is the cover design, of course. The first ones, you can't even see it here, but there's only like a debossed logo. And all the distribution people we work with were like, this is not good for sales. People can't even see your logo in the stores. So, and I was just like super like, whatever guys, we're doing it our way until volume 5. Okay, I get a logo then. And then these are like based more on selling better. And then we make a huge change for the last 4. Here we also decided to make a series. This is the first series officially. It's like the Nordic countries. And I will never do that again because it felt like I had to stay there for a year. Like after the first 2, I felt like, oh my god, I really don't want to be forced to do another 2. So I usually like working more intuitively. But yeah. And the less obvious changes are what we write about, how we write, and also how we work and the process of making a magazine. We try to change it up to just have fun basically and develop. But yeah, it's still a very similar product. But yeah, 2018 for us will be like a big year of change. And even though this is, I'm saying like we have to stay true to the brand, we're now pretty much changing almost everything. And that's basically based on the market and what people want when it comes to magazines and print. Print is dying, first of all, but it's not dying completely. You just have to, people are demanding different ways of reading. We still read pocketbooks, and in terms of indie mags, people like to buy new titles more often, not as like loyal to one magazine. So it's way more important to actually change a lot every time. So we've decided to change, and I'm going to show you some screen dumps. The new designers are Andra and Jana in Anti-Bergen. The biggest change is that it's going to be super small. It's like a pocket-sized magazine. And the first part is only text. The second part is only visuals. And that's because my commitment here is just like, I want to make something new in the magazine industry. And I want it to be really easy to read, that it's actually going to be able to fight the mobile and all the browsers. And then it's also going to be good for visuals. So it's a 2-part magazine, and you can actually tear it into 2 pieces, and you can just bring your text with you, like a little tiny pocketbook. And are some of the screen dumps. This is the covers. These are some of the titles inside. And this is how it's going to be like text-wise. And yeah, it's a lot of typography basically. And we're also going online full speed, and we're gonna launch way less print than before. But we're gonna launch it more like when we want to. This is a pretty interesting study. 13% loves their job. This is like international numbers. You can see the Norwegian ones up there. 24% actively disengaged, like they hate their job. And then you have the 63% that they don't really care about their job. They're just going, they need the salary, and that's like a true commitment if you ask me. But I want to be the 13%. We work hard in this industry, and if it doesn't make us happy, then why do we do it? And yeah, based on what the commitment is the foundation of great accomplishment and success, like what is success after all? I've had a detour in my career, especially last year when I was, I felt I've reached like many of my goals. And the cliche, like I didn't feel more happy. Why am I still feeling like I'm running to chase after something? And I also found myself just being the magazine. Every time I met people, people would be like, how's the mag? How's Auntie? How are you doing? Not how are you doing, but just like, how is Auntie? And I felt like I was working so much, and all my friends were basically in the office. And I didn't want to be a job, basically. So I tried to find myself last year, and I took a month off and basically went to India to become a yoga teacher. Did the yoga girl leave? Okay. Yeah, I became a yoga teacher this fall, which was pretty fun and weird. I found myself doing actually one of those exercises, just like a shaking meditation for one full hour in like a shala there with people I didn't know, and I was just like, what the fuck am I doing here? It was pretty weird. But yoga has really changed my life, definitely. But and it's, yeah. I hated the month in India, but I come back and I felt like a new energy for getting back to my work. So yeah, but life is more than just work. I think that's very important to think about. So back to the beginning, commitment is the foundation of great accomplishments. If you want success, then we have to commit. It can be like in love, if you want to write a novel, to be a good mother, to be a good lover or girlfriend or boyfriend, we have to commit. And we also have to know that it's the time for everything. Like for me, I will write my novel, but maybe not now, maybe never. But I still feel like pretty committed to it. But I think the most important thing is to commit to what makes you happy. This is very coach thing to say, but I think it's important. And for me, I love making things I'm proud of. That's basically my number one thing with the magazine. And I love becoming better at something, like personal development, basically. And this is probably still the most important commitment for me, because it still feels very good to go back and just show everyone that I wasn't a loser after all. Yeah, so that was what I had, basically. Yeah.